No. So I figure while I'm feeding baby goats, I saw Sumner Aker do this, and she just talked about her 2026 kidding season. For her, it was her first year, and I thought, you know what, that's actually a really good idea. So I thought I might tell you about our 2026 kidding year. Now this was my third kidding season. First time that we've done bottle babies. And I'm really glad we did do bottle babies, just because we had some really cold days when kids were born. This was also the first year that I kidded as early as I did. I kidded in January and February. Normally I kid, in the last 2 years before, I kidded February to March. I had some late ones in April and May that were kind of random. But for 2026 kidding started out kind of hard. We had 6 goats who were all bred to our buck Tinsel. He's a sweet boy, and he's a proven buck. He already had kids on the ground when I bought him. But my goat Stella, she aborted, she miscarried in December, at the day after her sister also aborted, and they were on different farms, bred by the same buck Tinsel, but on different farms. So that was kind of a rough one. That was the first time that's ever happened. And then we were sitting waiting, and we had Iris kid, and she had Iris had twins. She had buck doe twins, and unfortunately we lost her buckling. Something was wrong inside, and I don't know if he was born too early or what it was. Goats have 2 horns, essentially 2 uteruses that they can get pregnant in, and so sometimes they can carry 2 pregnancies at the same time, and if they kid at the same time, sometimes one kid can be premature while the other kid is full term. At least that's what I found in reading. And so I don't know, this little buckling, he didn't make it. And then we had Leia kid, and she kidded out 3 beautiful, healthy, big kids a week after I thought that she would kid. She had 2 bucks and 1 doe, and we pulled them and ended up bottle feeding them just because it was turning back into bitter cold. There was snow on the ground when Leia kidded, and so I pulled her triplets and bottle fed them. I let Iris keep her doeling on her, just because when she happened to kid, the weather wasn't bad, and by the time the weather had turned, her little doeling was a week and a half old, and so she was strong enough to be outside. Then we had probably the hardest thing I've ever been through, and I never ever want to go through again. We had Callie. Callie was she was accidentally bred. She was bred too young, and she ended up going into labor, and I think it was a premature labor because the week leading up to her going into labor, she was acting very off, like she wasn't feeling very well. We ended up losing her and her kids. The kids were just too big for her. She was too small. We attempted to save the kids. One of the kids was stuck in the birth canal, and I could hardly get a finger in to try and assist. So we made the hard decision to put her down and do an emergency C-section. And unfortunately, the doling that Callie had twins in her, and I think one of them must have passed early on, and that's probably what sent her into premature labor, so she had twins. One of them was already gone. The other one, we were very hopeful that she would survive. She was premature, so it was always a gamble. But we gave her best shot, and she lived about 18 hours. We named her Ruby. She lived about 18 hours after the emergency C-section. We tried everything to keep her going, but it just didn't happen. So we lost Callie and her 2 kids, which was really hard. Next we had Daisy Kid. Daisy was kind of a surprise kidding, because I thought that she didn't take, just because she started acting all flirty and like she was in heat again. And so I put her back in with Tinsel to try and have kids in the summer. Well, surprise, surprise, mid-February, it was February 19th, I came home from running errands to my human kids running out. Mom, there's kids on the ground in the barn. Like, Daisy had kids. So went in, got her kids cleaned up. It was gorgeous weather, so we let her keep her kids. And so she had 1 doling and 1 buckling, and she's an excellent mom. And then so Lily was also a surprise with her kidding dates, because the date that I had down originally for her was January 5th. So this was February 21st, she finally kidded. And she ended up with triplets, 2 bucks, 1 doe. The first one that was born, he was so tiny. Like, I have never seen a full term kid that small. He was about a pound. Next, she had a normal size buckling, but compared to the first one that she had, he was huge. And then right behind came another little tiny goat. Again, she weighed about a pound. That's Pearl. She's one that is a bottle baby, but we pulled all of Lily's kids. She had them very, very quickly. I made the decision to go ahead and pull them right away because the 2 were very tiny. So we named them Cole, was the tiny buckling, and Moon was the big buckling because he had moon spots, and Pearl was her tiny little doeling. And between their size and the fact that it was going to be getting cold again the next day, we decided to go ahead and pull them and just bottle feed them. So for a while, dang it. So for a while there, I had 5 bottle babies. Huh, Jade? I had Jade, and I had Galaxy, and I had Cole, and I had Moon, and I had Pearl. So I had 5 bottle babies for a while, which was kind of chaotic, huh, Missy? So Galaxy, I'll tell you about Galaxy real quick. Galaxy belongs to my best friend, but he has no cuddle buddy right now, so he gets to hang out with us until her other goat's kid, and then he will go back to her farm when he's got some little cuddle buddies. So our 2026 kidding season, it was rough, and we had a lot of loss, and I experienced things I never ever want to go through again. And I also decided to make some hard cuts on some of my does that kidded, moving them along to other people because they don't fit my breeding program, but also Stella specifically. Stella, I did rebreed her, and she did abort again. She lost the pregnancy again. So I think there must be something wrong with the genetic mix between her and Tinsel. So she will not be staying. She has kidded out successfully before. Last year she did. So I know that it's not her. It's just something wrong with the mix between her and Tinsel. And I know it's not completely Tinsel because Tinsel bred 7 does, and of those 7 does, 5 of them successfully kidded without any problems. So she'll find, I've got a couple of people who are interested in her. Excuse you, ma'am. And so once she has healed, she will go to a new farm. One of the hardest things I have found, that's hair, not hay. One of the hardest things I found with having goats, especially the cute little baby goats, you want to keep all of them. Ugh. They're naughty. They are so naughty. But they are so sweet. And it's really hard to want to keep all of them. But I can't keep all of them. I have too many as it is, so we've got to make some hard cuts this year and only keep who we know is going to produce well, because the goats for us are milk. They are also meat. We do eat wethers, so any bucklings that I cannot sell as bucklings or sell as wethers, they do go into our freezer. So my goats from this year, my kidding 2026 babies that I'm keeping Jade. She's the doeling from Leia, and I'm keeping Pearl. She is the doeling from Lily. So I had 12 living baby goats. And I found homes for all of them, brand new farms, new people to love on them. And they are very sweet.